let me be more. A celeb packed or multiple celeb packed apartments to be protected by armed guards on election day. That is very interesting. Ain't it though? Lux Chelsea apartment building that has been home to Debbie Harry, Pete Davidson, and Tim Gunn, among other bold-faced names, is hiring armed guards for election day. Page 6 is learned. London Terrace Towers sent out an email to residents which read, as you are aware, government enforcement agencies across the country are making plans to control possible civil unrest following the upcoming presidential election. Regardless of the outcome, Tuesday's elections are concerns range from isolated violent incidents to long stretches of mass protests, confrontations between extremists, and potential property damage. So the management says they're hiring extra guards to patrol the area. And insiders tell us that they'll be carrying guns. Interesting, which that's to be expected. Other current and former residents of the building where a 4-bedroom apartment is currently on the market for $7.5 million and a 2-bedroom is available for rent for $7,800 a month, include Chelsea Clinton, Malcolm Gladwell, Bill Hader, and Annie somebody, Bridget Moore. I don't know a lot of these except maybe Chelsea Clinton. Tennis star Milos Raonic. Said a resident, it's all a little much, but this is Chelsea. And with the Eagle Leather bar closed due to the pandemic, no one is going to complain about seeing guys in uniform with a big gun. Now, this is not something that I'm tripping about in terms of, okay, they shouldn't be able to protect their property. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. They absolutely should be able to protect their property. And if they want to pay someone else to do that and play security, that should be their right, or that rather is their right to do that. So if that's something that they want to do, let them do it. However, we have to make note of what's coming from the left, the guys that peddle their nonsense, the blue check marks, the celebrities that only appeal to you common folk when it lines their pockets. They are anti-gun. They want further gun restrictions. But you need to understand that those rules don't apply to them, right? Because they, of course, got money, and the people that will go through various licensing or whatever, they'll pay them X amount of money to protect them. Hell, in some cases, it'll be the actual police that they claim they want to defund. Which, again, they're right to do that. But understand this when you hear them, definitely if you are pro-celebrity in terms of their beloved political positions. They're valuable, ever so valuable political positions. Those rules apply to you, and you are going to be the one that's hurt the most, right? The folks like you and I who are, let's say, may have some money, but we aren't rich enough to just be paying fools to protect us all the time. A lot of our security lies within ourselves, which is why I always say you are your own first responder. So as they push for gun control, these are the circumstances in which they live in, where they get to, of course, pay folks to protect their elitist ass. And if and when, depending on what way you look at it, depending on how optimistic you're feeling, if and when the election results take place, and let's go ahead and be precise, as I said, the leftists start up and destroying people's property, they're going to be the ones that are going to be feeling the least from it. And that's why they can say it's just stuff all the time. That's why they can advocate anti-gun things. That's why they could be advocates of gun control in some capacity. And it's because they don't play by the same rules, bro. They don't play by the same rules. So they don't want you owning those certain types of weapons. They want you to jump through all sorts of hoops in the event that you want to get a firearm. But once the crap hits the fan, they're going to be the last ones having to fend for themselves or defend their persons and property. You? Oh, no. You on your own. And they would disarm you for the sake of signaling. Absolutely. And that's what we see a lot of. So I wanted to share that story mainly because I wanted to point out how is it hypocritical? Is that the proper term? Possibly. But more so just how they play by a different set of rules and they're living under a different set of circumstances. And I believe partially because of that, it clouds their judgment in their approach to guns and why they're so anti-gun. Why they can go bug dance for politicians, leftist politicians, when it comes to getting rid of guns, or rather making it harder to obtain weapons, or banning certain particular types of guns. It's because they're going to be protected. So they can't possibly envision a world where you would need multiple guns, or this certain type of efficient weapon known as an AR-15, very flexible. They can't envision a world where you would need that. They cannot envision a world where that is something that any individual would say, you know what, I need that on me. It's because they will just pay someone else to have it on them. And then their bodies and their bacons is protected. They're not to be taken seriously when it comes to political positions for that very reason. I am not saying that rich people shouldn't be able to have, let's say, an opinion on things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that rich people shouldn't be able to talk about certain things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just telling you that they are playing by a different set of rules, which is what makes it easier for them to advocate for something like this in gun control. They're playing by a different set of rules, and that particular threat is not real to them. So they, of course, said, I don't need to do this, and that as they walk around with armed security wherever they go. I don't need, like, what did old Dave Bautista say? He said he doesn't need to overcompensate. He doesn't need to have an AR-15. No, of course not. Just stay in your little high rise or wherever it is that you live, and you don't have to worry about that because someone else is going to do the protection for you. Meanwhile, a lot of us, we are our own first responders. And that threat that is very real, right? And it's becoming more real as we get closer to the election because there's a particular side, the leftists, that are willing to act up in the event that they don't get their way. It's going to be us that have to defend our property, not some paid guy or paid group of guys protecting our buildings. We don't have that luxury. And certainly if I ever get to that point where I did have that luxury, I'm still going to keep that thing on me. And I certainly wouldn't advocate that your rights be stripped or not stripped away from you. The rights are still the rights. They exist. I hate when we misspeak like that. They're not taking away the rights. The rights still exist. Let's call it what it is. They are rather impeding upon your right to protect yourself, your right to own weapons, firearms, or whatever it is that you need to protect yourself. Don't take these guys seriously.